everyone, welcome to Backstory Sessions. I'm your host Matt. We hope you enjoy this episode.
Hey everybody, it's Kat, and I want to welcome you to this episode of Backstory Sessions. I'm joined today by my co-host, Matt. Hey, Matt.
Hey Kat, everyone, how are you?
Exciting episode that we have today. Just start June, really.
That's right, yeah. It is
And
June.
I want to say happy birthday month to you.
That's right, yeah, it is. Coming up soon.
Yeah, to think in 2 weeks it'll be your birthday on Father's Day. So
Yeah, that is, yeah. I will be, how old this year?
you know, forever young.
That's right, yeah.
That's the age you'll always be.
Yes.
That's pretty good, right? Well, we have a forever young, I feel like forever young actor today on our episode because, he's timeless. He's been this character for a long time, but he's had a long acting career. But when you look at him, he's definitely a forever young too.
Yeah, for sure. He's been on there for quite a few years, as you said, and he also has done a bunch of other things. I'm sure we'll get into some of that.
Well, okay. So he's been on this soap opera, and I feel like soap opera people, they seem to be forever young, Like, I mean, they die and they come back to life, and I mean, some of them are on there like 20 years or something,
Yeah, true. I mean, a lot of them have been on for over 20 years. I mean, like
Yeah.
Days of Our Lives and Young and the Restless and all those. I mean, they've been going on since I was young.
Another World. Do you remember Another World?
I do, yeah.
Yeah. So, it's amazing when you look back at these. I mean, I remember my mom watching soap operas when I was young. So, like you, from childhood, I remember soap operas. Were you ever a fan of them?
I can't say that I was a huge fan. I mean, I remember watching some, like, I think I used to watch, like, The Young and the Restless, maybe.
I watched All My Children, and when I was in college, high school, college, that phase, General Hospital was huge, and Luke and Laura getting married.
Oh,
That
yeah, I remember
oh,
that.
that was like the major event, and everybody was like gathered together watching that episode.
Well, that had been on, like, 100 years before, and, I think those two were, like, Luke and Laura there. They were, like, babies when they first started on that show.
I know. When you look back at the photos, it's just amazing. But our guest today plays a doctor. So,
That's right, he does, yeah. There's
um,
always a doctor on one of those shows.
oh yes, or like there could be even a whole bunch of them.
Mm-hmm.
But he's, I guess, a doctor with a twist that come out, like literally come out as gay. In a plot twist there. So I would, definitely we're going to hear about that. But Kevin Spirtas is our guest today. And,
Is that how you say his last name?
Spiritas.
Not sure. It's like Spirtas or something like that. I don't know if
Yeah.
there's another I in there.
Nope.
Okay.
No. He's Kevin Spiritas.
Okay.
Kevin, we're putting an I in your name. And we're going to call you Spiritas.
I'm sure he gets that a lot.
Don't mind us. So.
Yeah. We're sorry in advance.
Yeah. But, he's been on so many things, and also he has a new project out that we're going to talk about too, where he actually was a co-writer and is a co-star.
Yeah, that's a web series. I think he's won a bunch of daytime Emmys for or something.
Yes. So, we this is I don't know how many Emmy Award winners this makes for us, but I'm always like so honored and thrilled when we get to talk to Emmy Award winners.
Yeah, well, I mean, we're thrilled to talk to all the people that we talk to, but it's pretty cool.
It is because really, that's the highest honor for if you're, it's like the Grammy if you're in music. That's a the highest honor.
Is
Um,
the Grammys only for music?
um, well, like soundtracks, music,
Oh, they don't
yeah,
have like acting or what's?
no,
Oh,
it's the
okay.
Oscar. Of course, there's the Oscars.
Yeah, yeah.
For
And then the
with
Razzies.
yeah, we should make it a goal to like interview one of those. Wouldn't that be? Oh,
I think Sandra Bullock has won one of those.
okay, we'll take her.
Yeah. Sandra, if you're out there.
All right, all right, Sandra, if you're listening, we would interview you. Okay.
So I hear that before we start this episode, I just wanted to mention this. I hear that you're writing a script.
Oh my goodness, I am. So in this chapter of life, I'm starting a new venture, and it's going to be. So I am partnering with Gary Bryant, who I graduated from high school with, and we've actually had Gary on as a guest on our class of '82 episode.
Oh yes, I remember that.
So, I've had this idea for some time, and then, as fate would have it, as it often does, I mentioned it to Gary, who also likes to write and has a book out. And he's like, I think we could make it work. And then, we've just been like bouncing things back and forth and things falling into place. And we are going to be having a mobile theater group.
Oh, cool.
So they're going to, it's kind of like Commedia dell'arte. So it's funny, and the actors will travel. So our all the world's stage is literal, because we could be at a restaurant one day, we could be at a library the other,
Hmm.
so it's just going, but it's dinner theater, so you'll get fed well, and you'll also get to see a very funny mystery show, which is a script that I'm currently finishing.
Care
Finish.
to give us a idea of what it's about, or no?
Well, I will tell you the title is The Reveal, so obviously I can't reveal too much. Um,
Okay.
but it centers around a high school reunion, and so all the characters are at their high school reunion. Now, one of the great things that we're trying to do, or we're going to do, is give you an immersion into the script. So if you're there watching as an audience member, you're going to feel like you are a member of the class of '82. And you just never know, like, when you're going to be part of the script.
All right. Well, there you go. Bring your I don't know what was happening in '82. It's like big hair and
Hairspray,
yeah, yeah.
yes, the best music ever, and you know, just
Yeah.
great things. Like the '80s were so fun. It was a great time to be a teenager.
Everybody dressing like Madonna and
Yeah, or Cyndi Lauper,
yeah, yeah.
if you depending, and
Flock of
all
seagulls.
MTV, just the year before that, MTV
Oh, they had
premiere.
just started, yeah. Yep.
Yeah. So, we're so lucky because I know that you were also a teenager at
At
that
one
time.
point, yes. Well, not really. Was I a teenager? Let's
Yeah,
see.
you were.
So long ago.
Well, it just was a great time. And you're going to be able to turn back the clock a bit and enjoy that great time. And if were born after the 80s, it's a great way for you to see what it was like to be a member of the class of 82.
All
But
right.
this is going to be at the Pennington, and the Pennington is in Corbin, Kentucky. Now, this is a business that just opened at the beginning of this year,
Mm-hmm.
and it's a very unique building. So it has a lot of character, a lot of charm. It just has the personality that is perfect, a perfect match for theater. So Deidre Pennington is the owner, and she's actually going to be a guest as we move closer to July 29th, which will be the first performance. So, I hope everyone will come out and have a great time.
All right. Sounds cool. And hopefully I can get down there to see that.
Yes,
It's
because you are forever young, you would say, right?
yes. All right. Well, let's talk to Kevin, and we'll hear about his soap opera career, and we'll look forward to hearing more updates on the Mystery Dinner Theater as time goes on.
All right, Kevin Spirtas.
Without the extra I.
Exactly.
All right. Here we go.
Kevin, I want to welcome you to this episode of Backstory Sessions. We are so excited to have you as our guest today.
Thank you for having me, Kat and Matt.
Sure. Well, you're quite an accomplished actor, and so I guess my first thought is like, where did this love of acting begin? Were you like, that child that had an imagination and played characters, or where does it begin?
Um, I think it actually began more with movie musicals. I would be the kid staying up past my bedtime, sneaking out of the bedroom, turning on the Late Show. Back in the day, we only had three networks, and
Right.
I would, any musical that had Gene Kelly or Fred Astaire or um, you know Ginger Rogers, Judy Garland, Debbie Reynolds, all those movies. Uh, I just something about the dancing and the music and the um, situation, it arrested my attention, and I was drawn into that. And then, of course, anything that came in, excuse me, anything that came through St. Louis when I was a kid, watching the tours of a chorus line and Pippin and on and on and on. I had to be in them. I had to try to go after that. So that was the inspiration.
So, did you find yourself singing along, dancing, when you
Are you
would watch?
kidding? I was choreographing and re-choreographing everything I'd just seen 5 minutes prior down the hallway, knocking pictures off the wall, of my house. Cartwheeling into, expensive pieces of furniture. Um, I I don't know. I would let my imagination run wild. I'd be on an afternoon um, date with friends, and we'd be walking through one of the parks, and I'd see a stone wall, and I'd get up and I'd say, "This is what Jim Kelly would do," or Fred Astaire would, whatever it was. And I still have a teacher named Joanne Smiley, who was my fourth grade music teacher at elementary school, and she sort of was the one who saw the, I don't know, she saw that I had the bug, and she encouraged it. And I would be at every concert. I would learn every song. I would be at choir practice. And she was my teacher, fourth grade, fifth grade. My sixth grade year, she actually went to the junior high. So I then had her seventh, eighth, and ninth grade.
Wow.
And then in my senior year, she had come to the high school. So I had her again as a senior. And she was, Joanne was quite a teacher. She was the Pied Piper of music because everyone wanted to be in choir. And now, sidebar, she is the mayor of Clarksville, Missouri. So she's doing very well, and I stay in good touch with her. But she's the one who actually would encourage me to audition for festivals or shows that were local, or go to New York when I was ready, or when I felt ready. When I felt ready and when my parents thought I was ready is a different story, but here I am.
Yeah, so I was going to ask, was your family supportive of your idea for making a career of this?
I think my mom and dad were supportive in the sense of, oh, it's a phase. I was a good singer, though. I was a really good singer, and I was a natural dancer. And my junior year and my sophomore year, junior year, my senior year, I auditioned for the local Six Flags amusement park shows, and I was a very big hit at Six Flags. It was training. It was doing something for the summer job, being in a show 6 times a day, and that was sort of like, I want to do this. And I remember getting the encouragement to audition for Six Flags was doing something with Dinosaur. They were pairing up, and they were doing this like talent search called Stairway to Stardom. And each year they were doing one person from each park. They'd compete against themselves, and then one person from each park would go to perform in the Dinosaur show. And the second year I was at the amusement park working, I won, and I went to go on the Dinosaur show, and that was it. I knew that was it. Come on,
Dinosaur, yeah, you know.
come on, Dinosaur. That was the big time.
Yeah, you
And,
made it then.
So,
So did
but I
you
would
have
say, I was just going to say, after that, my dad wanted me to go to school. My mom wanted me to get an education, and I did go to a semester at SMU in Dallas, Texas, and I had a dance scholarship, and I was studying the arts and poli-sci minor. And I remember at the middle of that first semester, I was auditioning for something at the school, and they didn't hire me. The talent show. I thought, my gosh, come on, put me in a talent show at least, something. And I realized they, out of respect to the students who were coming before me, the seniors, freshmen, seniors, sophomores, and juniors were the ones who were always being cast in the dances or the plays or the talent shows. And the freshmen really didn't get attention because why? They were freshmen. And I remember sulking one day in dance class, and Jerry Bevington, my teacher's aide, was very much an inspiration of the creative thoughts that I wanted to do and pursue. And he said, "What is wrong with you? You're sulking in class 3 days in a row. What's going on?" And I said, "I don't think I should be here. I think I should be in New York." And he said, "You're absolutely right. You should be." Now, don't fire him because he's moved on. He's not at SMU now, but he was the one who said you should be going to New York and you should do what you want to do now because you have it. And I took it to heart, and I told my parents, I'm not going to be here next semester. But 3 months later, what was it, 1981, in January, so just about the end of March, beginning of April, I landed a role in a chorus line on the Broadway tour.
Wow.
So, yeah, so that was, I think it was meant to be. And that started my journey. I took that tour all over Canada and the United States, and it ended up in Los Angeles. And I stayed in Los Angeles after that.
Hmm.
And, one thing after the other. There's an audition for a movie. There's an audition for a commercial. There's an audition for a something. And about a year later, I landed my first job in a slasher film, as one does. The Hills Have Eyes, Part 2, directed by the incredible Wes Craven. So it was
Yeah.
really great.
Yeah, Wes Craven.
So I stayed.
Well, it would seem a chorus line would be perfect for you. It's kind of ironic that that's the first part that you get.
Yeah. Well, it is ironic. It isn't ironic. I think it was intention. I think it's a show that I remember it coming through St. Louis twice. And when I was a junior and when I was a senior. In the senior year, they held auditions. And I wanted to be in that show. I wanted to be the role of Mike Costa. I wanted to sing, I Can Do That. That was me. And I remember going to that theater and watching that show and just be up there. I know that I didn't make it that year. She said, you probably need one more year before we, come back next year. So by that time, it was 6 months. I was in New York, but I think it was more about my intention and what gave me excitement. And, as I said, my heart is arrested at something that is beautiful and inspiring and magical and creative. And that's where I wanted to be on stage. That's the show. That was the first one anyway. And I don't know. That's how we create our reality, one thought at a time.
Was there ever after that point a time when you're like, this is not going to work, so I'm going to have to think of a plan B? Or did that never cross your mind to look back?
I'm not going to say never. This business has a lot of peaks and valleys, and there were some very lean times, and there were times that I thought, oh God, I don't know what I'm going to do. How am I going to make money? How am I going to support myself? How am I going to feed my cat? These are the questions that one asks when they are starting off in the business. I just have faith. I really believe it's a matter of faith, and it's I happen to believe that I'm here for a purpose and goodness in the creative world, and I don't know why I think this, but I think that's just how it is for me, and it's something that is my truth. And I can honestly say that when I went through a very, very, very sparse time in my, I'm going to say mid to late 30s. I kind of was at an in-between stage. I was too young looking to play older, too old to play younger. And I'll never forget running into Fran Bascom, who was casting Days of Our Lives at that time. And I hadn't seen her forever. And she ran into me at the theater and she said, Kevin, I've been looking for you. Your picture's not in the actors directory. I said, I can't afford it. She said, call the office tomorrow. I want to talk to you. So she brought me into the office a week later, and she said, there's a role that I would like to have you come in and do. It's 2 days. Okay, you're paying me, right? And I don't know what made me think this or what possessed me, but I went to the set 3 days later. My lines all memorized, and I just remember thinking, this is a place I could call home. Yeah, I'm going to call it home today. And it was 3 or 4 scenes with Rourke Critchlow, who was playing Mike Horton at the time. And they may have known this, may have not known this, but they were investing in pushing him out of this job that he had wanted, and I was going to be the bad guy in these 2 days. And it was a very Eddie Haskell type of character. Yes, Mrs. Cleaver, and and then turn your back, and it's like, get out of here. And I remember going, this is going to be fun, and that's all. I just went to set to have fun, and at night I got home, and Fran has called me at home saying, "What did you do at the set today?" I thought I did my scenes, and she said the producer called me. Has never called me in all my career here, Days of Our Lives. He said, "Where did you find this guy?"
Wow.
And those 2 days turned into almost 8 years. 7 or 8 months later, I get a call from Fran. She goes, "You're not going to believe this. They want to bring you on the show for a 3-year contract." And I said, "Wait a minute, wait. No test deal. Did they ask me if I want to come back on? Yes, I'll take it." It was just one of those. And I believe it's readiness. I believe it's opportunity meeting preparedness. And then those 8 years kind of resurrected what was Kevin Spirtas' very, very quiet career at that time. And when that show ended, what do I do? What's next? And Broadway called. I went to Broadway. I ended up standing by for Hugh Jackman in The Boy from Oz, one of my favorite jobs in my career. And he was amazing. I never went on for him, but that's not what we're talking about here. We're talking about the job. And I learned from him. We've stayed in good contact. But after that year, I was not in love with New York anymore the way I used to be. And I felt very strongly about coming back to LA. But I also felt strongly about working on stage again. And there's stage here in Los Angeles for that. I really wanted to do it the right way. And, again, if it's meant to be, it will be revealed. And I ended up doing chorus, Hairspray in Vegas. And they did that lovely production, which was supposed to last a year. Unfortunately, I came back to LA quite early. The show closed, I think, at 3 or 4 months into it. I had a great time. I love that show. I love Mark Shaman and Scott Whitman's work, and I got to work with some incredible people. But now I was bitten by that bug, and I really, really wanted to be on stage. So, having only ever lived in New York for the most part of that 1 year, I would go back and forth, and I would visit, and stay a couple weeks at a time. But I needed to go back and invest my time in New York, and that's when I got rid of everything here in LA, and I settled in New York for about 7.5 years. And at that time, producing fell into my world of creativity. People say, "Come here and help raise money for projects. Come over here and do this little 2-person play off Broadway." Blah, 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 everything. It was just starting to really rock and roll. But I wasn't getting the roles that I felt I needed or desired. And I knew at some point there was going to have to be a coming to terms with either get out or just make it happen yourself. And sure enough, a tap on the shoulder at the gym. "Are you Kevin Spirtas?" "I'm Michael Slade. I used to write for you in Days of Our Lives." And there was the birth of After Forever.
Wow.
I know it all sounds storybook, and I know it all sounds too convenient, but I'm telling you, this is how it works. This is how it came together, and I'm just leaving out a lot of tears and a lot of lean times, and
So, I mean, there's a lot here, of
I
course,
know, I know.
the way things have progressed and happened for you. Um, with the soap opera, what was that like? I mean, were you a fan of soap operas before?
You mean daytime?
Yes.
Okay. Well, life is a soap opera. Come on. Uh, I have to be honest. I was not a fan of soap operas growing up. I felt that they were something for my grandmother, and she was busy. She was busy knitting, and I have to hold the yarn for her. Um, and she'd tell me about this story and that story, and I'd say, "Mama, I love you, but I'm gonna go outside and play now." And that was because I still wanted to be Gene Kelly dancing around. And sure enough, I think one of the first things I ever auditioned for in New York when I went there for the first time to live in '81 was a soap opera. And I tested, I ended up, of course, you want that soap opera right there. It's a job. It's going to be on the TV.
Right, can feed my cat.
Two cats now, but it's kind of.
Well, I am out.
I was just going to say though, I'll wait. It wasn't important. It's a lot.
Oh, go ahead. I'd like to hear it all.
I can't remember how I was going to tie that in. It'll come back. It had to do with cats, not the musical. No, go ahead.
I was going to say that probably you began, at least from TV, to be a lot more recognized because, people on soap operas generally, especially to the fans, they have a lot of them. So what was the recognition part like for you?
At times it was quite rewarding and fun and exciting. I also... I remember some fans really taking the storylines too true and too real for them to be considered. That's what I was going to say.
Yeah.
Because my grandmother would make them, "Can you believe this is happening?" I go, "It's TV, Mama. It's a story." The heightened overreacting was not my favorite style. But again, people, you come into their living rooms every day, 360, however many days, and it's how many years, and how long your contract is, and so that said,
they expect you to.
I kind of skyrocketed that first year of being on a national, well-received and popular television soap opera.
And
then I wasn't. What'd you say? One more time.
And you play a doctor who's married for a long time.
Yes. My mom was very proud. She now had a doctor in the family. One of her sons, the doctor, and even when I was off the soap, she would still introduce me as her son, the doctor. I said, "This is getting old. This is getting very old, Mom." But you're gonna jump into the storyline now.
Yes, I am, because I have two questions about it. So, what is it like, or how was it received, in that you're married, but you're having an affair and you're gay, and then you have to tell your wife.
You mean I have to do real life things in this non-real world? First of all,
what was that like emotionally to play that character?
The thing I can start with is when Michael Slade and I um, when we set out to write After Forever, we wanted to write from stories that we knew and that we felt were personal and we had a connection with. And Michael was, I think, about 6 or 7 years older than me. And that is really old. No, he was the elder in the relationship of creativity here. But we created the story about two men who had everything in life until one day they didn't. And when one died, my character, Brian, has to navigate through his life now has to navigate the grief and the loss. And how that came to be is a whole other interview, but the story was about navigating grief and realizing that when someone dies, the relationship does not end. And you have that relationship with you for always. So, cut to the success of the show. It's getting a lot of attention in a lot of the film festivals, and then we get 8 nominations for our first season. And it's short form, so each episode is about 8 to 12 minutes, and the whole season, season 1 is about an hour and a half. And there we are at the 2019 Emmy, Daytime Emmy Awards, and there are 5 awards handed to us.
Wow.
And one of them was, for me, was Outstanding Actor in a Drama Series. And Michael and I got writing, and we also won Outstanding Digital Drama, which to me was the accumulation of pretty much everything at that point. And I remember standing on stage looking at my past daytime family, and I was just sort of like, yeah, I guess we had to kind of do this on our own to get attention. I don't know how to say it any other way, but we weren't going to wait for anybody to hand deliver a role or a story or a show. And we went ahead, and our efforts were greatly rewarded. And at the end of that ceremony, the head writer from Days of Our Lives, Ron Calvari, came up to me, saw me in the bar area, and said, "Congratulations, tell Michael, you guys were fabulous. I'm so proud of you." And he took off. And when Michael came over, he said, "They're going to bring me out. They're going to bring Craig Wesley out of the closet on Days." He goes, "What? Who told you that?" I said, "Nobody told me. It's just something that I sense would be the right thing to do now." Here I am. It took me long enough to come to a good solid term with my own life and my own truth. And I think by taking this role and by taking this opportunity of creativity and pushing it forward in front of people, it was my way of coming out, so to speak. I was already out. It just wasn't.
Right.
I wasn't leading with it. And here, it took me a very long time to be comfortable, to accept myself, and to stand for myself as not only an actor, but as a person, and as a son, as a cousin, as a brother, all that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And here was the opportunity to have Craig Wesley do the same thing. I don't know. I just sort of thought, why wouldn't they do that? Why wouldn't they put us together, in this story?
Yeah.
So when that did come out, and they did call me, and they did decide they were going to do this show, this storyline, the first thing I asked was, "So is Craig coming out? Is that what we're going to do with this storyline? Because it just seems right." And Marnie, our casting director, she was like, "How do you know?" I said, "I'm a professional." I don't know. It was a feeling, and it was I can only explain it as my body was able to speak that sentence and breathe clearly, and that was sort of the detector of it all. So, and now there's a new Emmy nomination.
Yeah,
Can you believe it?
congratulations on your other
Thank you.
ones, and that's awesome.
Yeah.
Did you
Very
have
proud.
personal experience where you had dated a female that you ended up hurting, maybe because sort of like your character by coming out?
Um, I think probably the only person I hurt was myself. I had a manager who would say to me, Kevin, you're the only person who doesn't know you're gay. And we'd make that the joke. But I think it was more about, there are fantasies, or there are dreams you have as a child, and the world is spoken to you through the mouthpieces of your parents. They are the
Right.
ones who say what the world is outside. And I just didn't know other possibilities. I just knew that I was feeling something different. Most likely I was different. I knew it at a very early age, and it wasn't about anything other than, hey, this is something I'm drawn toward, just like a part on stage or in the films.
Right.
So I dated women. I didn't understand them the way I think I began to understand men, or I thought I would understand men. So that's the technical side of it. I don't.
Yeah.
It's just part of me is an actor. A slice of me is a writer. A slice of me is someone's brother, someone's son, I'm gay. It all makes up the man. So, and if someone wasn't going to understand that after one date, then that's all. Then they should be hurt. I'm being flip, but I'm just. It's such a process and now today, these kids on the internets and the webs, they're leading the world now. They're taking it by charge. Yeah.
Mm.
So the writing part, had you had an interest in writing before?
Yes. It usually came out of my person like this. They kept that scene in the movie? Really? Are you kidding me? Oh my God, that scene is horrible. A judgment, of course, but it wasn't a judgment. It wasn't a judgment about the talent. It was just a story. I don't know. I think when a person is acting, when a person is creating, they're kind of in charge of their own writing, so to speak. Yes.
Yeah.
As a kid, you're growing up. You're playing make believe. You're writing already. You're writing a story when you tell your teacher you lost your homework because the dog ate it. That is writing. That is creating. Did I know that it was going to be in this particular format? And how can I say? I knew at some point I would write. I had started to dabble in spec scripts for different projects, wanting to maybe try my hand at that sort of thing by myself. But this is something that I knew. But when I met Michael, or re-met him that day, I just sort of sensed that if I was going to move in the direction of creating a soap-like story, I was going to have to do it with someone who understood that, who really knew the beats and the time allotted for each scene, or how much can we say. And I had the story in my head. I had the ideas of each scene in my head. And then when you meet someone else who you're collaborating with, those moments become exciting. And oh my God, wait, what about if we do this way? And then it wraps it all up over here. It's amazing. And I think the thing that was one of my favorite moments of my collaboration with Michael was um, he asked me one day, "Why, Kevin? How? I mean, why are you not in a relationship? I mean, how is it that we're going to give a character that you are going to portray any type of sympathy? I mean, who's going to care that you're single and crying for a boyfriend?" And I went, "Well, it just hasn't happened yet, you know." And he sort of smirked. And I said, "Plus, I'm a lousy eater, so it's hard to have dinner with me." And I threw the question back at him, and I said, "What about you? Are you involved with anybody?" And he said, "I lost my partner of 15 years about a year and a half ago."
Mm.
And I had said, "I'm so sorry to hear this news. You still talk to him?" And he gave me a look as if I had gone into his brain and pulled that question out of it.
Mm.
Like he said, "Yes, I do." And I said, if you are comfortable with overlaying this type of story to our already ideas of bringing this couple together. I mean, we didn't have it about death yet, but we knew it was going to be about two people relating. And I said, if we're going to find a way to tell this story about going out on a date or needing to go out on dates, you could do the present storytelling by where Brian is today. You could look back at the past and the flashbacks and see where the relationship was, where it flourished, where it didn't flourish, where it was a good time and where it was not such a good time. And then we, on another level, which is not anywhere inventing a wheel, it's just reinventing it. Better tracking. We said, why not have Brian conjure up Jason to work out his grief, to ask him questions, to make himself feel heard, even though we don't necessarily consider ourselves heard when there's a ghost. I just know that Michael and I were supposed to meet. We were supposed to create a story, and it was supposed to be about this couple having this relationship. And I know that we were doing it because there's a certain amount of story that is pushed under the carpet or not anywhere on the campus after a certain age for not just gay men, but for middle-aged women.
Right.
And we had this idea, and I think it was beautiful recognition, actually, when we were given a letter that it was written to a studio head, and my dad lost my mom about a year ago, and I don't know how old this young man was, but he said, I think I understand what my dad's going through now. Just by watching the show, and I thought that was lovely and heart touching, and just so you do the creative stuff for you, and hopefully the healing that you're going through is going to touch someone who's watching it and help heal them. That's always how I've approached it. Like, even in my Friday the 13th movies, come on. You got to kill Jason. You got to kill the Jason.
Yeah. I'm curious. So you won 5 Emmys for that, and which one is the most personally satisfying to you?
Oh, you're asking me to pick my favorite child?
Yeah.
We've actually the series has accumulated 6 daytime Emmys.
Okay, I'm sorry, 6.
And no, it's okay. Who's counting?
Yeah.
I am. The show won Outstanding Daytime Drama Series.
Mm-hmm.
The notion that Michael and I sat down, got to know each other in a moment's time, and popped this season 1 out in less than a year. I raised money to get it made. We got 8 nominations. I don't know. I think the show overall.
So not just not so much the awards, it's just the process of creating it.
Yeah, I mean that's what that. I think when I walk by them, so properly placed on the shelves here in my house, you can't miss them. Um, I'm constantly reminded what they represent.
Mm.
And now that Michael has moved on, uh, we lost Michael, for those who don't know, in 2020 to a very rough. Um, are you there? Oh, you there?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did I lose you? Oh, um, Michael had a very, very severe case of prostate cancer, and
Mm.
it took about 3 years, and we lost him. But he's still here, so it represents a lot of stuff. The show is
Yeah.
forever in my heart and forever in my it's my body.
Mm.
And we
So,
have now completed the third season, by the way. We waited until COVID was going to allow us to do the show as written, because we had written this season 2 and season 3 seasons back to back.
mm-hmm.
And now, toward the end of the year, it will be released. It will
Awesome.
be a streaming. Yeah.
Cool. So,
So,
what's next for you? I mean, after this, any plans for the immediate future?
Um,
Or you
I
can't say?
Yeah. Well, no. I mean, I am not signed to a new contract on anything at this time.
Okay.
But I am working on 2 new scripts, 2 feature-length scripts
Mhm.
with a new writing partner. And Greg Allen is he's a wonderful, wonderful writer. And we kind of crossed paths because we were talking about an actor that was in my series, and he wanted to talk to him, and blah blah blah. And
Mm.
we found a way to share interests in the stories that we're now writing. I'll go back to some singing. I have been threatening. I'm going to do another show. I really am. No, I mean it. I'm going to put together a show. I will sing those songs. It's I want to do it. I want to do an evening of Peter Allen's music
Mhm.
without doing The Boy from Oz. Hugh was so outstanding in that theater. I'm just going to say theater. It wasn't even about the role. He just filled the house. He was just amazing. And I watched him every night, and I thought, wow, this guy is, I should just soak this all in. It's a lesson.
Yeah.
And
And if he would only get sick, that could be me.
Well, I had actually taken some stock out in marbles. They would get caught in the track. I wouldn't do that to him. He was great. I will say this though. Peter Allen has always been the backdrop for me.
Mhm.
It's always been a Peter Allen song since junior high. And I just remember when Olivia Newton-John was singing I Love You. I Honestly Love You.
Mhm.
Melissa Manchester, Don't Cry Out Loud.
Mhm.
Those 2 songs especially, I mean, and then I came out to LA, and lo and behold, who did I get to meet? And I got to sing with Melissa Manchester at a concert.
Wow.
We did a duet that she had actually written with Peter Allen. So I wanted to contribute to his work and his legacy, and there's some storytelling as I weave those songs together.
Mhm.
And it has nothing to do with All's Land. So, and that's seeing the writing. I don't know. Maybe I'll pick up painting.
There you go.
There's also a couple of theatrical projects that are starting to present themselves on
Mhm.
the canvas of Broadway. And now that Broadway is coming back, I'm very, very excited to maybe step in as a producer again.
Awesome.
I think the thing we should all kind of, at least it's what I try to do, I look at where is the evidence and how is it presented to me, and am I going to walk in its direction? That's really what's next. And if you're doing something that's making your heart sing, then by all means, do it.
Good advice. All right, Kat, one more question.
One more question. I do not know the lottery numbers.
I was just going to ask about the title after Forever. Who thought of that?
I don't want to take all the credit. I mean, Michael's not here to argue with me.
Right.
I said to Michael, because we were talking about how would it be if one of these characters dies, a story that he knew very well, and they don't live happily ever after, but oh, hey, they live after forever. Was that simple? I think when you're in it and you're aligned, it just, things write themselves. Like this 3:30 phone call. I tell you. Apologies once again.
You're fine.
Yeah, it's I think creativity is our birthright if you select to take that on every day. It doesn't have to be writing scripts, doesn't have to be singing, doesn't have to be acting. We're all creative, and I think the sooner we surrender to that one, boom, they'll make a smartphone that will not unidentify a foreign number. Steve Jobs.
All right. Well, we're going to let you go. We appreciate your time so much. Thank you so much.
You awesome. Guys are great. Thank you so much. And I don't know when they're going to postpone the Emmys till, but keep your fingers crossed.
All right.
Yes, definitely. We are cheering for you.
Oh, thank you. I'm cheering for you too. I am. I think it's just a very big, full circle moment.
Yeah, you got.
I would be more than honored to receive this.
You got more shelf space picked out?
Are you kidding? Of course I do. Of course I do. I've got 17 shelves picked up. And whether it's another Emmy or these, I'll get a picture to you guys. I'll text you a picture.
Awesome. That'd be great.
That's great.
Wonderful talking to you.
You as well. Have a good evening or afternoon.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. As always, if you have any questions, concerns, or comments, you can send those to Kat at iWritePlays@outlook.com, or you can write to me at backstorysessions@gmail.com or matt@level11ventures.com. Thanks for listening, and we'll talk to you soon. Take care.